Welcome to Inside Out, Mental Health at Work and in Life, where we explore what it really means to build connection, belonging and well-being in our daily lives and workplaces. This week in the UK is Mental Health Awareness Week. The theme is community, and like every year, the messages are everywhere. Social media timelines filled with campaigns, teams taking part in well-being challenges, leadership messages reminding people to check in with one another. And yet, for some, this week feels off, because for many people, these conversations vanish just as quickly as they appear. So if you're listening and feeling a little jaded by the corporate campaigns, a little sceptical of branded initiatives, or even a bit invisible this week, you're not alone. Let's talk about community. It's one of those words we use often, but rarely interrogate. What does community mean, really? Is it the people we live near, work with, speak to online? For some, community is big, vibrant, multi-layered. For others, it's quiet and close, one or two people who truly see them. Community isn't about numbers. It's about trust. It's about safety. It's about feeling like you matter. But many people today are struggling to find that. CIPD's Good Work Index and Health and Wellbeing at Work surveys have been tracking these issues for years. They've consistently found that a significant number of employees experience conflict at work, and many choose not to report it. The result is quiet disconnection, eroded trust, and missed opportunities for early intervention. What's more, their research shows that rising levels of stress, isolation, and poor mental health often stem from how work is managed, not from individual failings. Factors like workload, poor relationships, and a lack of psychological safety all contribute. And yet so often, organisations respond with awareness campaigns rather than cultural change. In that context, Mental Health Awareness Week can feel like a plaster over a much deeper wound. At work, we don't often talk about community. We talk about culture, engagement, morale, but not community. Why is that? Maybe because community implies something mutual, something human, not just professional, and that can feel messy, vulnerable, uncertain. But it's in that messiness where the most powerful conversations happen. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Mental health isn't something we can tick off in a single week, and community isn't something we build once and keep forever. Both require attention, consistency, and a willingness to show up when it's inconvenient. If Mental Health Awareness Week is the one time of year your workplace talks about well-being, that's not awareness, that's marketing. So what are we doing the other 51 weeks? Are we creating spaces where people can be honest about how they're really doing? Are we holding difficult conversations, or are we avoiding them to keep the peace? Are we listening for what's not being said? Because here's what I've learned from working with charities, volunteers and frontline organisations for years. The strongest communities are the ones that show up for each other when there's nothing to gain, where there's no spotlight, no hashtag, just a quiet commitment to be there again and again. So if you're feeling disconnected this week from your workplace, your peers, or even from the message of Mental Health Awareness Week itself, know that your experience is valid. And if you're someone in a position to influence workplace culture, here's a challenge. Don't ask, what are we doing for Mental Health Awareness Week? Ask, what are we doing when no one is watching? Because it's in the ordinary moments, the quick check-ins, the quiet acts of care, the space to listen, that real community is built. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Inside Out, Mental Health at Work and in Life. If you found today's episode helpful, Please share it with someone who might benefit from these insights. And as always, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Let's keep this conversation going. Drop us a message or connect with us on social media. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.